Today we're going to talk about how you can change absolutely anything. If everything is changeable and interchangeable, then it must not be real. Now we're going to talk about that. Of course it's real, Landria. Click, 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 click. I can touch my arm and the table. Now we're going to talk about that. Everything is changeable. And your world can change today. If there's something you want to change, we're going to talk about how to do that. No matter what challenges lie out there, there are so many things that you could achieve starting today and take yourself into a space of amazing miracles. Are you ready to go there? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. Here to help you break through the fears and live an amazing life. We're going to talk about miracles today. Why? I teach miracles. I teach how to go into the miracle space. Why is that important and what does that mean? All things are possible in the miracle space. I'm going to explain how manifesting, which is always happening 24/7, every thought manifests, everything manifests. You're always creating, expanding, changing. All of it is manifesting. What we want to do is we want to direct that manifestation power into something that we want to experience, something desirable. When you manifest from a high frequency, you manifest from joy, peace, compassion, and love. That means all things are possible because there's no blocks, there are no barriers. When you manifest from a low frequency, then you may feel fear, threatened, and so even if you're a great manifester, meaning that you're manifesting the things you desire, you may be coming from a place of fear. I want to manifest certain things to keep others away, or I'm going to manifest a bunker because I need to protect myself. And that kind of manifestation, well, that can happen, but when you do it from a lower frequency, the consequences of that are going to be very unpleasant. We don't want to experience that. Well, if we do, it's another learning, another teaching for us, and so that's why we're here. We are ready to move past that. You know, this planet was created for amazing things, and it went in a direction it was not meant to. But because of free will, we've been allowed to take it to the darkness. And we are totally responsible for changing that, and you can do that today. I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and by the way, when you're moving, make sure you don't remove your tables before you move. I have one table to put my coffee on. All right, so let's get started. The Miracle Circle is where I teach you, and I hope you come over and join at some point. I teach you how to control the thoughts. Because we can talk about miracles all day, and we can pray for things and ask, but if you are not generating that higher frequency thought or belief or action, then it's counterproductive to that which you claim you desire. You can change anything. If you want to lose weight, well, you can pray all day, but if you keep going to the refrigerator or eating the Cheetos and all the stuff that puts the weight on you, that is your conscious choice. And so you must love that more than you love the thought of being thin and healthy, right? It's all a decision you have to make. Now, it may not be an easy decision because you're conditioned to eat certain things. You may have an addiction to sugar and all these other things. Just like everything in your life. You may be addicted to drama. You may be addicted to negativity. It's exciting, right? Why? Why is that exciting? It is so different to what we know when we are not in our bodies. It's fascinating for us. And somehow we got so fascinated with it and so entrenched in the density of believing the stories we created that we have not pulled out for a very long time. We're at a critical turning point, and so it's time for us to go back into that light, even as human beings. That's happening with many of you. I want you to remember, and I'm going to remind you all, awakening does not mean you stop experiencing the feelings of being human. It means that you stop reacting to them in a negative way and you understand that they don't control you and that they're just an experience. They're just for us to experience the contrast, because once you go over to that other side, there's no fear or anger or sadness. And all those loved ones that have gone over, all of our pets, they are in amazing space. The density of the bodies we have, that's truly the challenge. They're praying for us because we're still taking on the biggest challenge in the universe, the most dense planet in the universe. So we want to change that. And in order to do that, we have to understand that the energy field we've created by making negative, lower frequency choices, those consequences are still with us. We have to unwind and play it out. So you can't, smash a bottle and then wish for it to be back together again and it never happened. You're going to have pieces all over the floor. You might be able to glue them back together, or maybe you just have to make a new one. But once you've done certain things, there are things that will come from that cause and effect. So be okay with that and know that you can change anything. I know some people that have done some things and actually gone to prison and said, it was the biggest learning experience of their lives. It was necessary for them to have that turning point. So remember that some of the things you've done that you may be regretting are the biggest opportunities for you to know what is not on a high frequency and that you never want to go there again. And if you hadn't experienced that, you wouldn't be able to go over here and say, I never want to do that. I never want to be cruel to another person again. I never want to cheat or lie or judge again. It feels really bad. And you know that through the human feelings. All right? So when we want to change things, we have to change the thinking. You will have addictions to negativity. There's a lot of theories going on out there that seem so real, and they are meant out there to bait us from the lower frequency to believe things that are just absolutely ridiculous, not true, that are going to get you in fear, separation, getting you all riled. I'm seeing that a lot. And then I see a whole percentage of people that are shutting it down, saying, I don't want anything to do with this. It's so ridiculous that they can't believe that there's any human on the planet that would even fall for that stuff. Anything of a negative nature, and this is the start of your shifting out of this and going into the miracle space, anything of a negative nature is just a lower frequency. Don't judge it. But if you feel that, if it's fear, negative, separation, it is not something you want to engage in or get entangled with. How do you do that? You shut it down, and you don't have to defend or argue because now you're still in that space. I want you to understand that the difference between engaging in the darkness and for the light and actually being awakened could be two different things, because when you're arguing a point for light, you are not in the light. You may think you are, and you may be fighting for good, but you're still in a lower density because it's still conflict. And it contributes to conflict. And that's what so many of these stories are meant to do, is to take sides. If you're taking a side, you're not in an awakened state. You're still thinking from the ego. This is the toughest thing we have to do, is to admit to ourselves that we are taking a side. Now, you don't have to approve of things. We've talked about this before. And you don't have to stand by and watch nasty stuff go on. We want to be the catalyst for positive change, but we want to do it in the most amazing, positive way, not the way we have been. All right, so we continue to create conflict to make positive change. That just doesn't work. The miracle space is automatic. When you go into that space of miracles, you see everything is absolutely perfect. You don't have to have answers, and you absolutely understand that every person that is playing out, no matter how dark their role is, playing out what they have chosen to be or continue to be, until which time they come into light. The only way you can affect them in the most effective way is to go into light yourself. We are all one energy. We are all one thing, one. And so when you go into light, you are placing light into the one energy field. When you argue, you are continuing to facilitate darkness in the energy field, and you continue to pollute it. That's what planet Earth has become. I hope this makes sense for you. If you've seen my 3 seconds to manifest anything video, that was a couple years ago, still my most popular video. Why is it? Because I'm going to tell you in a simple way, and we're going to go back to that. The best thing you can do is just catch the negative thought and switch to the positive. If you don't have a positive thought already there, that video was based on manifesting what you desire. So I had you choose what you desire so you'd keep going over to it, over to it, over to it. In this video, I'm going to share with you that when you catch yourself, and it's all about catching yourself, because density doesn't even realize what it's doing. The ego doesn't realize what it's doing. It thinks it's always right. So you have to catch yourself in the ego and the density. If it's negative, fearful, if your actions, or if you're even watching negative stuff, right, you got to catch it. You catch it, and you switch over to the positive thought that will counterbalance that. I'm going to meditate. I send blessings to that person. Somebody gets nasty with you. You don't have to take crap, right? You know me, I'm not going to take crap, but I still am going to bless that person and send them, my best wishes and love. Why? Because if somebody goes in that space, they're hurting. I don't want anybody to hurt. It's like watching a baby cry and nobody's helping it. That breaks my heart, right? A puppy crying or a kitten crying, you got to go and pick it up and love it, right? If it's crying, okay, yeah, it's in distress. I want you to think of every single person who's doing nasty stuff as a little crying baby or a puppy. For me, it's like a puppy or a kitten. That's more effective. And they're, oh my gosh, you know what? It's crying. It's annoying, but oh, how can you not love it? You want it to be happy and safe. That's what every human being desires, to be loved and safe. And those people who are striking out are not feeling that. They're not in touch with the love in the high frequency. They're not in touch with it at all. They don't even know it exists most of the time. They don't even know that that is the way we should go. They think it's woo-woo stuff and that, we're wearing rose-colored glasses and that they're in reality. Well, they're actually creating that reality, the darkness. That's a choice. The woo-woo and the rose-colored glasses, that's what's going to change the world and take it to a high frequency. The others will continue on the frequency wherein a reality exists where they will absolutely stay in a planet of destruction. But they're choosing it. You can make the difference by going into the miracle space. All love. Silence. No questions. No answers. No one has them. Don't need them. Because when you feel love, unconditional love, that's all you need, my friend. And that's all you'll give. And so miracles will happen. You will be healed. Abundance will flow. Opportunities will come in that you never had to order. We spend so much time, I want this, I'm going to manifest this. And you're really thinking, I don't believe it. Because when you go in the miracle space, you can have desires and drop them into the circle. We have a miracle space circle every month. We drop our desires in there. But we have no expectations or any kind of rules about that. We place it in the circle and we step back and say it is done. And then we go about our day. Sweep floors and chop wood. And it shows up. And whatever form it shows up in, we're okay with it because we know everything's perfect. That's the miracle space. I think you understand this, don't you? You feel that, don't you? That that's a totally different way of existing that is not confined to anything here, that knows that all things are possible and that everything makes sense, but you don't have to understand it. So you have to catch that thought. Ask yourself what frequency it's on. I did a video on frequency. Test your frequency and switch it over and say, I release this. It could be any positive thought, but it has to be genuine, not, I love you. I love my boss. Ugh. That's not genuine. It has to be genuine. You can switch over and say, I release this anger. I release this anger. And that's when you can go into your angels and all your guides, because they are actually the extension of you, ready to say, okay, yes, you just said yes. And that's the yes that takes you in the miracle circle. Okay, you have a negative thought. My boss is a jerk. Boom. There is another light being. I will not understand that behavior. I don't choose this behavior, but I send that person light and love and compassion no matter what. Because, you know what? God forbid that we not be forgiven. Right? We have to do that for each other if we want to live in a world of peace. So if you want to shift into miracles, it's simply letting go, recognizing the thoughts, letting go of them, but having a positive thought that you're choosing, and you're going to go over and over and over. In 3 seconds, you're going to switch over. And you're going to find yourself not even going in that space. It's going to feel bad. You finally have, when you have a thought, you go, ooh, that's not me. I am not that person. I always say, what would the awakened Landria do? What would the awakened Landria think? How would the awakened Landria act? And it's very clear. I know that there's no distress in that. And so I go into that space and I step into that energy field of the awakened Landria, the role I'm playing, because I am that. I am, and so are you. If every one of you shared my video with just one person, I could spread positive vibes and frequencies out there, an amazing message that all is well. And it starts here and comes out from there. And that's all you have to do. One light being at a time will change the world. I hope you'll subscribe, and I hope you'll tell others about my channel. That helps me, and it helps my mission here on Earth to raise the frequency. You guys, if you see this, that's my internet training. We're teaching people how to become online entrepreneurs. We're teaching people how to create their own businesses online. We've got shamans and people that are selling crystals and people that are recommending holistic products and coaches, all kinds of things. Your world is anything you choose, but you have to take that effort and put no rules or negative beliefs on any of it. Do or do not. There is no try, said Yoda. So you can click here. Those are free videos that explain how we're doing it. And then, of course, you subscribe and you know that you can get free videos from me called Manifest Anything, where every few days I just talk about how to get this in check. And of course the Miracle Circle's down there also. That's $29.95 a month. And you get lessons for 30 days. You get lessons, and practices. A meditation and a live session with me is included in that for 30 days. So you can do it at your own pace. And I help you to train this to get out of the, just say, lower frequencies that have been programmed in us and help you break through it. So I'm here to serve you, and I'm so privileged to be a part of your journey. Thank you. And thank you for shining your light, because you're whole and perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my beautiful friend. Namaste.